Well, we're less than 24 hours after Disney, surprisingly, got a very quick approval for its bid to, or its deal to acquire those Fox assets from the Department of Justice. Just 6 months and 13 days after announcing the deal, it is approved by the DOJ. And of course, this then leads to the question, what is Comcast going to do as it tries to potentially come back and compete with that $38 half cash, half stock offer from Disney, or deal from Disney that now is cleared in the United States. More on that in a moment. But from Comcast's perspective, yesterday I shared, from people familiar with the thinking of the company, that they were still fully prepared to move ahead, perhaps not this week, but in the near term, to try to counter Disney. But, seeing the reality of that DOJ approval, it's unclear whether that has any telling effect or a meaningful effect on Comcast's thinking. As for Disney, well, it was the offering of the RSNs, immediately going in an antitrust and saying, we don't even need to have a discussion about this. We are willing to divest all 22 RSNs, regional sports networks. But what did that leave, really, for DOJ to look at? The studios. And as I've been reporting for months now, frankly, you can look at the market shares of Fox and Disney, put them together, get a big number. But the question is barriers to entry. The question is how many studios will be left out there. Either 6 or 7 still, you could argue, will be in the marketplace. And think about it, Amazon and Netflix barely existed a few years ago as studios, so to speak, producing major motion pictures. Barriers to entry, well, seen as fairly low, given their ability to actually become major players in that. DOJ said fine, and then you're left with Nat Geo and FX. They're two significant cable networks, to be sure, but do they really move the needle in terms of giving Disney more leverage over distributors? Well, the DOJ said no. Still, it was very quick. To put it in perspective, Scripps and Discovery took 8 months. This deal, again, only took 6 months and 13 days to get that approval. But what does it do? Well, for Comcast, it says you got to deal with a $38 bid on the table that's already been accepted by the Fox board, and the fact that that Fox board also has a bird in hand and saying there's no risk anymore for regulatory here. Yes, they still need China, other jurisdictions around the world. That's not insignificant, but they have a timing advantage at the least and a certainty advantage as well. And so if you're Comcast, the question is, what's the number? What does it need to be to get the attention of that Fox board? Or is it possible the Fox board will still not say yes, but you can still prevent shareholders who vote on the deal from saying yes as well? Those would be key things, as will Disney wanting to move as fast as it possibly can here to try to secure the SEC review of its proxy and get a shareholder vote on the table before the record date of May 28th runs out. You need it to be 60 days. That would get you to July 28th is the latest they can hold a vote. They'd love to do that. We'll see whether, in fact, that actually takes place. As for Comcast, it is meeting with the DOJ, as I reported yesterday. They've had one significant meeting so far. Some questions as to whether Comcast also would be willing to come in and try and move the process along as quickly as possible by saying, we'll get rid of the RSNs. Maybe we'll even get rid of Hulu. But they have, perhaps as a broadband or regional player of significance in so much of the country as the prime offer of broadband services, there's more there for them to deal with. And so the question is, where do we go from here? And do they turn their attention to Sky, where they have a deal already in place at $12.50 that's been approved, and they can move very quickly under the UK takeover laws to get that moving and put pressure on Disney and Fox. So we'll see.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.